Wallis, besides making out his case for spelling reform and proposing a revised system, Hart took a keen interest in the description of the organ of speech, defined vowels and consonant, and noted the aspiration of voiceless plosives. Wallis intended his grammar to help foreigners to learn English more easily and also to enable his countrymen to understand more thoroughly the true nature of their language. Now, there was a book written by John Wilkinson. Name was Essay Towards a Real Character and a Philosophical Language. It was published in 1668. And in the 17th century, among the 17th century phoneticians, the most important name is that of Christopher Cooper. His work on English pronunciation was first published in 1685, and the name of the book was Grammatica Lingua Antiquae, and with the English edition appearing in 1687, and the name of the book was the name was The English Teacher, or the Discovery of the Art of Teaching and Learning the English Tongue. Cooper wanted to describe and prescribe rule for the pronunciation of English for gentlemen, ladies, merchants, tradesmen, schools, and strangers. His aim was to describe English as it existed and not to reform its spelling. And then came the 18th century. In the 18th century, the work done in the 17th century was continued in the 18th century, but it lost its original spirit. The 18th century writers were deeply interested in the production of dictionaries to stabilize and standardize the language. The dictionaries of Samuel Johnson in 1755, Thomas Sheridan 1780, and John Walker 1791 are important contribution of this age. Some of the scholars in this age confused phonetics with rhetoric, and it was not until the 19th century that a clear distinction was made between the aesthetic judgment and the phonetic analysis. Now we come to 19th century. Since the Renaissance, language teachers, spelling reformers, shorthand inventors, auxiliaries, language enthusiasts, and missionaries, they have taken a keen interest in phonetics. But it was the beginning of the 19th century that phonetics received a real boost with the discovery of the ancient Indian phoneticians mentioned in the preceding paragraphs. In England, Alexander J. Ellis, from 1814 to 90, he presented to English children as well as to the foreigners an alphabet phonotype, and it was published in 1847. He also developed other types of alphabet, notably glossic and polity type. In 1867, Alexander Melville Bell set out to classify all the sounds capable of being articulated by human speech organ and to allot a systematic and related series of symbols to the sounds. By the end of the 19th century, the development in physiology and acoustics and in the accompanying progress in instrumentation as demonstrated by Alexander Bell's system, visible speech. He wrote this, you can say, on the speech sound. He had stimulated a considerable amount on experimental research into the branches of phonetics. Also, in the late 19th century, scholars like Henry Sweet attempted at producing a phonetic alphabet, and the International Phonetic Alphabet, which is still the system in general use, IPA. We call it IPA at this moment, International Phonetic Alphabet, and it was it came to formulated in 1889. In the 20th century, in the present century, phonetics has developed immensely into various branches and is mature enough to claim an independent status as a discipline. Already, some linguists have talked about linguistic sciences, by which a mean phonetic and linguistic. The former dealing with the general property of human sound, making the latter with those property which are of importance in the system of a particular language. The focus of interest in this present century has been to find out accurate and precise ways of the modern age. Spectrographs, oscillograph, sound monitoring machine, tape recorders, and number of other electronic devices developed by communication engineering have been greatly helpful in studying sound. The aim of phonetics nowadays is not to provide a notation, it is to analyze speech into its basic units, which may thereafter be transcribed in some way. Hence, the phonetic description is primary. It is a notation. The notation is secondary. The contribution of Daniel Jones, Gimson in Britain, and Roman Jacobson, Maurice Hale, Chomsky, Traeger, and Smith in the United States, besides a host of European and Russian scholars, to the study of speech sound is of considerable significance. Now we divide three branches of phonetic. We can divide phonetic into three main branches. First is acoustic phonetics, second is auditory phonetics, and the last is articulatory phonetics. In acoustic phonetics, it is the study of the physical property of speech sound, such as frequency and amplitude in their transmission. Acoustic it analyzes the speech waves with the help of instruments. They attempt to describe the physical property of the stream of sound that issues forth from the mouth of the speaker. It is in the field of acoustic phonetics that the most striking development has taken place since the World War II. Complex sound waves produced in speech can be analyzed into their component frequencies and relative amplitudes. Considerable progress has also been made in speech synthesis. Acoustic analysis has confirmed, if confirmation was needed, that speech is not made up of a sequence of discrete sounds. The articulatory features of rounding of voice and obstruction of friction can also be identified acoustically. Acoustic phonetic has achieved a good deal of success in matter of the study of the sound of vowels, but regarding consonant, it has not reached final conclusions. The second type of phonetic that we come across is auditory phonetics. It is the study of hearing and perception of speech sounds. It studies different auditory impressions of quality, pitch, and loudness of sounds. The auditory classification of speech sound has not yet been carried to a decisive phase. At the present time, phonetics can be regarded as being made up of two main branches, articulatory and acoustic phonetics. In the book like this, you can say many articles written on these vowels and consonants. It would not be of any significance used to go into detail of acoustic and auditory phonetics. The result of acoustic and auditory phonetic need very minute observation and great scientific and technical expertise and are often puzzling. These branches are instruments which cannot be used easily outside a laboratory and cannot be transported successfully from one place to another. Hence, the easiest approach to observation about speech is the tradition and most common approach of articulatory phonetic, and we deal with the articulatory phonetics in detail nowadays. Articulatory phonetic recognizes that speech is produced by some kind of sound making apparatus inside the human body, and that specific sounds may be related to specific movements of the apparatus. Hence, it is the study of movement of the speech organ in the articulation of speech. Speech is produced by the movement of organ of speech, lungs, soft palate, tongue, teeth, and lips. The knowledge of the organ of speech, their relation to each other, and the way in which they are used while speaking provides a sound basis for the classification of sound of human languages. So now, before we discuss you can vowel sound and consonant sound in detail, let us find out that what the meaning of, you can say, phonetic. In linguistic, we know that linguistic, it is the scientific study of, you can say, language, and phonetic, it is the study of the way we make, transmit, and receive sound. And phonetic transcription, it includes the representation in writing the sound, words, phrases, and sentences of any language of the world. It is a very useful device which helps us to transcribe words, that is, to put down in writing what one exactly says. So what we are saying, we put down that thing in, you can say, writing in phonetic transcription. So we have the term IPA. We were talking about IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet. It gives some symbols which represent all the sound that exist in the languages of the world. There are 44 sounds in British English, 20 vowel, and rest of consonant. Some symbol are borrowed from Greek alphabets. One particular characteristic of phonetic transcription is one sound, one symbol. That is the main characteristic of phonetic transcription. One sound, one symbol. It enables us to show the pronunciation of words without any confusion in writing. And before we learn to transcribe the words, let us first of all try to understand some of the basic constituents like syllable, vowel, and consonant, because these are the key elements as far as the transcription is concerned. So they are used in description of speech and include information concerning the production, transmission, and reception stages of sounds. There is always a sound in terms of the movement of the organ. Movement of the organ means that how different organ of speech play different roles in speech production, speech sounds. So we have the nature of the sound which is perceived and the features preserved by a listener in the language. So first of all, we go through what do we mean by a syllable. Syllable. While analyzing speech, we will have to consider unit higher than the individual speech sound, and the unit that is next in hierarchy to the speech sound, it is known as syllable. A word is made up of one or more syllables. It is perhaps fairly easy to point out with a fair amount of accuracy how many syllables a given word has. So it is not easy to clear the idea where one syllable ends and the next begins in the given word. And because in a given word there can be number of syllables, and we don't get a clear idea where one syllable ends and the next syllable starts. And we have words like girl, boy, shirt, up, cut, go, bus. These are some words. Girl, boy, shirt, go, up. These have one syllable each. And they are also called monosyllable. Monosyllable having only one syllable. Mainly, this syllabic division, it is usually marked with hyphen. There is a hyphen and it is put between two syllables in order to divide them. That there is one and the next is, you can say, the other second. So hyphen is used, and we do not know where one syllable end and the next start. The word, for example, example word example, it has three syllables, and the word, so this alphabet x, x in the example, it represents two sound, that is G, and it is represented by G and Z. In the pronunciation of several English speaker, the G sound, it is the part of the first syllable, and Z, that is the part of the second syllable. How can we mark syllable division then? So this is the problem that most of us, we can say, face while making a division in, we can say, syllables, that we are dividing the word into syllable, and a syllable is composed of its constituents, segments, individual sound. Segments means individual sounds, vowel and consonant. They are distinguished by their function in a syllabic structure, and the chest pulse is carried by the vowel, which produces free passage for the escape of the air. A vowel is therefore the nucleus of the syllable, and the consonant are marginal. In a syllable, vowel is considered as the nucleus and the consonant are considered as marginal. The consonant initiate or close the syllable. That means at the beginning or at the end of the syllable we find consonant. The consonant that begins a syllable, it is known as releasing consonant. When we use the consonant at the beginning of the syllable, then it is known as releasing consonant. And the consonant that closes the syllable at the end, it is known as arresting consonant. The basic structure of the syllable is CVC. C, consonant, V, vowel, C again, consonant. And in the word cat, C-A-T, C is the releasing consonant, T is the arresting consonant, and A is the vowel in that word, cat. So, English allows up to 3 consonants to begin a syllable and up to 4 consonants to end a syllable. Such a sequence of consonants at the beginning or at the end are called consonant cluster. This phenomena is known as consonant cluster at the beginning and at the end, where 3 consonants are permissible in the beginning and 4 at the end of the syllable. So, it is known as consonant cluster. We must remember that a sequence of consonant without a vowel between them should occur within a syllable in order to be called as a consonant cluster. So, a syllable that ends in consonant is called as closed syllable. A syllable that ends in a consonant is called a closed syllable, while a syllable that ends on a vowel, it is known as open syllable. So, a syllable can be defined in terms of pulmonic air stream mechanism. It can be defined in terms of pulmonic air stream mechanism. The air from the lungs does not come out in continuous flow, and the muscles of the chest contract or relax alternatively, and thus the air is pushed out in small puffs. Sometimes the muscular action is more powerful than usual, which produces reinforced chest pulse and stronger puff of air. When we get this strong puff of air, a syllable produced in that way, it is known as stressed syllable. It is known as stressed syllable. The syllable within the, you can say, the tone of the group that stand out because it carry the this major stress, thus which is carrying out the major stress. This is known as the tonic syllable. Tonic syllable. Then we come to know that how there is a description of the classification of speech sounds, vowel and consonant. And first of all, we need to know a bit about the vowel. A vowel is a speech sound in the production of which the air comes out of the mouth without any obstruction at all. There is no audible friction caused in the production of the vowel sound. And for instance, in the production of the vowel sound, generally we talk about 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U, but in the production of these vowels, there is no obstruction caused when these vowels are pronounced. So, in RP linguistic, the scientific study in scientific study, we have 12 pure vowel and 8 diphthong. Pure vowel are also known as monophthong, which are 12 in number, and diphthong, combination of two vowels sound, it is known as diphthong. So these are 8 in number. So total vowels in English speech sound are 20. So the rest are consonant. A consonant is a speech sound in the production of which there is some hindrance to the air stream at some point in the mouth. For instance, if we pronounce the can say P sound in the word pen, if you are pronouncing the P sound, you will find that in the production of P sound, your lips first meet each other closely, and then there is a complete obstruction of air coming out. Now, if we utter the word fun, in that, in the production of F sound, there is some hindrance caused by the upper teeth and the lower lip. So with this, we have also, when we are talking about the organ of speech, then we are also talking about active articulator and passive articulator. So that we will discuss later on. And we have the organ of speech can be divided into three systems: respiratory system, phonatory system, and articulatory system. And in phonatory system, we have the role of vocal cords, and in articulatory system, we have the can say role of lips, teeth, and roof of the mouth, tongue. Tongue, it can be divided into 5 parts: tip of the tongue, blade of the tongue, front part, back part, and rims of the tongue. And roof of the mouth, it can be divided into T3s: hard palate, soft palate, and uvula. And we have also the organs responsible for converting lung air into the speech sounds. And for the description of the pure vowel, let us first share the screen. Ma'am, PPT is, you can watch the PPT, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
So we have the phonetic, the study of the way human make, transmit, and receive sounds. And we have also the term associated with this term, phonetic, phonology, the study of sound system of language. And we have also phoneme, a phonological segment that can phonetically predicted by that the smallest unit that can bring some change in the, you can say, meaning of the word. Bit, we have two sound P and B. So with these two alphabets, the meaning is, you can say, changed. It is known as phoneme. So the organ of the speech, and you can say its articulation, we have the structure of, you can say, the speech mechanism, where we have the nose, upper teeth, and we have the lower lips, upper lips, tongue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the parts of the tongue. And the first part that we discussed is it was the tip of the tongue, then the second, then we have blade of the tongue, front part, and back part, and it is the last rim of the tongue. So this is the structure that we have while producing the speech sound. We have the important part, that is glottis, that is at the, can say, bottom of the picture, glottis. And how the vocal cords, they also, can say, play an important role in producing the sounds. Let me share the PPT of the vocal cords also.
Carica da mente, ओ मेरे रिश्तों में मेरी सारियां
Just a minute, ma'am. Just a minute. Ma'am, this PPT is visible, voiced and voiceless sound.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Visible.
Yes, sir.
So we have the vocal cords. When the vocal cords they are, you can say, held apart, voiceless sound. There is no vibration in the words like pen, ten, can. And when the vocal cords are held tightly together, then there is vibration produced. So voice sound are produced. So there is, because of that vibration, there is some hindrance produced by that the air it is not able to come out of the mouth, and the voice sound are produced like the word bend, then, get, went, then, and gen. These are the words where we get this voice sounds. So this is, can say, with the help of the vocal cords. And then we have the again the last PPT that we were sharing, that was about the monothones. And PPT is what you are watching. You are watching. Hello, ma'am, visible or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. We first discuss the monothong, their position. So we start with the first this monothong, or you can say the pure vowel, that is, and the first that we have, this is found in the word like T. The lips are spread and the sound is, you can say, long, because the two dots after this alphabet, it shows after this vowel two dots. These are the symbol of that it is a long, you can say, vowel. Then we have in contrast to this the second our vowel. This is found in the words. This is a short vowel in comparison to the first one. And we have for describing the vowel, we have three term label diagram. And in the first vowel that we have, in the production of this sound, the tongue is raised to a height just below the closed position, and the lips are spread and the tongue is tense in the first vowel, and it is a long vowel. And it can be found in three different, you can say, positions: initial position, middle position, and final position. In the initial position, like the word east, and in the middle position it is like the word please, and in the final sea, and in the final one word is also B. In this is the final position of this vowel. And in the articulation of the second vowel, that is a short vowel, and we have the rear part of the front of the tongue is raised just above the half closed position, and the lips are loosely spread, and unlike in the first that we have described, the tongue is lax. In the first it was tense, the tongue was tense, but in the second one, in the production of the second vowel sound, it is a bit lax, and we can it is centralized front half closed unrounded vowel, and it is a short vowel. Its position is also, you can say, it occupies three position. In the initial position, like the word ill and enjoy, and in the middle position, fit, fill, fill, and in the final position, like the word valley, valley. Then we have the the third one that we have on the screen, and this vowel has at least, you can say, two position. This vowel occupies two position, non-final, and in the non-final position it is articulated exactly as the same way and at more or less the same place as the vowel that we will discuss later on, and in that position it differs from that vowel, and in the final position it is produced with the center of the tongue raised just below the half position, half open position, and in both cases the lips are neutral, and this is a short and central and unrounded vowel. This is the three-term label diagram of this vowel, and it is found in the words human, problem, society, effort, factory, and condition. So we have the next slide of the vowel. In this vowel, it is, you can say, in Hindi, it is a sound, a. To produce this vowel, the center of the tongue, it is raised between half closed and half open.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
सर स्क्रीन विजिबल नहीं है आपकी, तो
स्क्रीन विजिबल
डायग्राम, यस सर,
विजिबल नहीं है.
No, sir.
जस्ट अ मिनट मैम, जस्ट अ मिनट. Now visible, ma'am?
No, sir.
not now.
No. Now it is visible.
Yes sir, now it's visible.
Okay. So we were discussing the two vowel sound that we, in fact, three we have discussed. The first one, let us discuss in brief because the diagram was not visible to all. So in the first vowel, it is a long vowel that we come across, and in the Hindi you can say word, जैसे बड़ी ई की जो मात्रा होती है. So in the production of this sound, the tongue is raised to a height just below the closed position, and the lips are spread, and the tongue is tense, and it is a long vowel, and it has three positions. In the initial position, in the words like east and eat, and in the middle position it occupies the position in the words like sheet, shwt, sheet, and please, and in the final position it has two words, see, sea, these are in these words we have this vowel in the final position at the end of the, you can say, word. So we have also some other words like feed, cream, dream, see, and peace, in which this vowel is used. It is a long vowel, and in comparison to this long vowel, we have the second vowel just below this vowel. We have, it is जैसे हिंदी में हम छोटी ई की मात्रा जो है डालते हैं. In the production of RP vowel, the rear part of the front of the tongue is raised just above the half closed position, and the lips are loosely spread, and unlike in the first vowel, that was a long vowel, and we have described the tongue is lax, but in case of the first vowel, which was long vowel, in that case the tongue was tense, but here the tongue is lax. and it is centralized front half closed unrounded vowel, and it is a short vowel. Initial position in the words like ill and injury, and in the middle position it occupies in the words like fit, fill, engine, and in the final valley is the word where you will find this vowel at the end of the word in the final position. So other words like hit, bit, rich, and ticket, these are the words where we are supposed to find this vowel. So we have the third one. In the next slide we have the third one, and this vowel like in Hindi sound a की मात्रा जो होती है छोटे a की, and the vowel has at least two position, non final and final, and in both the cases it is produced with the center of the tongue raised just below the half open position. In both cases the lips are neutral, and it is central, unrounded, and short vowel, and it is found in the words human, problem, society, effort, factory, condition. These are the words where you will find this vowel. Now we come to the next one, which has like in Hindi speech sound a sound, and to produce this vowel the center of the tongue, it is raised between half closed and half open position, and the lips are in neutral position, and it is therefore central unrounded vowel between half closed and half open position, and it is a long vowel as the two dots they are showing that it is a long vowel, and it also has three positions: initial position, middle position of the word, and the final. In initial it is in the word like early, earth, middle position mark, first, final position refer. So this is the three term level diagram of this vowel. Now we move on to the next one. We have the fourth one and fifth one in this slide. The first is a sound. It is articulated with the center of the tongue raised to the point nearly halfway between open and half open position. Lips are neutrally open with a considerable separation of the jaws. It is a central unrounded between open and half open. It is a short vowel, and it has only two positions: initial position and middle position, and we don't find any word where it occurs at the you can say final position or at the end of the word. In the initial position we have words like up, us, ugly, uncle. These are the words where this vowel is found in the early position. And in the middle position we have the word cup, us, sudden. These are the words where it is found in the middle position of the word. And we have also some words like hunt, much, pump, cut, dust. These are words where this vowel is used. And then we have the next one, and below this vowel we have next vowel, and it is a long vowel. In the Hindi you can say word in Hindi language जो होता है मात्रा लगा देते हैं तो उस साउंड के जो है रिप्रेजेंट करता है, and it is also a long vowel because of two dots. To produce this vowel the jaws are kept considerably separated, the lips are neutrally open, and a part of the tongue it is between the center and back and fully open position. It is a long back open unrounded vowel. Unrounded means lips are not rounded when we are pronouncing this sound. The lips are not rounded. So it is also found in three you can say position: initial position in the word arm and art, and in the middle position charm, star. We have the final position of this vowel car and star. In other words like father and card, hard, large, bath, these are some words where this vowel is to be found. And we have the next two vowel sound in the pure vowel. The first one is that is representing sound. तो आवाज आती है हिंदी में. That is represented by the first vowel. And to produce this vowel, the back of the tongue is raised to very near to the closed position. Tips are closely rounded, tongue is tense in this case. It is a back, and as far as the three term label diagram is concerned, it is a back rounded vowel, and it can be found in the words like thu, few, should, lose, youth, choose, June. These are the words where this vowel is found. Then we have below this vowel we have another vowel, and this vowel sound, it represents the O sound as we found in Hindi, and this vowel is articulated with the back of the tongue raised between half open and half closed position. Lips are considerably more rounded than we have. As far as the three term label diagram is concerned, it is a back vowel rounded between half open and half closed, and it has three positions: initial position, middle position, final position. In the initial position, in the words like all, A-double-L, in the word ought, O-U-G-S-T. In the middle position, it has the word like stall, S-T-A-double-L, sword, S-W-O-R-D. Final position of this word, you can say this vowel is in the word like law, L-A-W, jaw, J-A-W. So we have the next vowel sound that we have. Two vowel sounds are represented here, and in the first we have the you can say the first one is produced by raising the front of the tongue to a little below the half open position. Lips are in the neutral position and the mouth is more open than the earlier that we have discussed A sound in Hindi as we find. And it is a front vowel, unrounded, just below half open, and it is a short vowel. And it can be found in two positions: initial position and middle position. A-double-D, and cat, man, mass. These are words where this vowel is to be found in the initial position. And in the middle position, we have sad, sand, sat, rank, back, cash. So these are the words vowel is to be found in the middle position. Then we have the last one that gives us the sound in the production of this RP vowel. The front of the tongue is raised to the point above halfway between the half open and half closed. So the three term label diagram of this vowel is, it is front unrounded between half closed and half open, and it can be found in two positions: initial and middle. So now we come to diphthongs. We come to the sound diphthong sounds, and let's share the PPT of diphthongs. Just a minute, ma'am. So a diphthong, it is a sound made by combining. PPTs, ma'am, you are able to watch this PPT?
Yes, sir. It is
Yes, sir,
visible
it is visible now.
Yes, sir.
Visible. Visible.
ठीक है.
Just a minute, ma'am. So a diphthong is a sound made by combining two vowels, specifically when it starts as one vowel sound and goes to another, like the sound in oil, O-I-L. So in that we have the, you can say, so I have divided these vowels according to, you can say, this is the diagram of the diphthong, and it has been prepared like as per the glide it moves, the direction of the glide, and we have the diphthong which are 8 in number. The di means two, hong means sound, that it has two vowel sound, and we have the first one. It is the long one that we are sharing on the screen. This first diphthong is similar to, you can say, a long sound. It is pronounced as a long S sound sliding into long E sound. So some dialect pronounce the long A sound as one single sound, like in ache and late. Other pronounce it at two vowel sound. It really depends upon where you live. People with southern accent from the south part of the, you can say, United States, they will stretch out the diphthong, you can say, more. And we have these words, and I have the red color of the alphabets in the word day. The red color of the alphabet A and Y. It shows the position of the diphthong in the word day. Then we have say, we have may, we have away, we have pay, lay, and many more. So in the second diphthong that we have on the screen, this is the second one, and this sound, this diphthong is pronounced as a long sound sliding into long E sound, and again this sound can vary from dialect to dialect. That means from region to region, the accent of the people, it affects the sound of this, you can say, these vowels. Some dialect pronounce the long I sound in the following words as one single sound, and some dialects pronounce the vowel sound more like the, you can say, AS sound that you will be here in the word ball. Other pronounce it as two vowel sound. I have made the word, you can say, the alphabet red, that we have the word sky, try, cry, die, tie, why, I. These are the words where you will find this diphthong, and we have the third one, that is the diphthong. It is pronounced as a long O sound that quickly slides into long E sound. We have the word like boy, toy, annoy, enjoy, ploy. So these are the words where you are supposed to find this diphthong, the red alphabets. Then we have the next one. This diphthong is pronounced as the E sound sliding into the UA sound. And these words, peer, hear, steer, clear, fear. In these words, we will find where the red, you can say, alphabets are showing the position of this diphthong. The next is This diphthong is pronounced as a long A sound sliding to, and we have the words in this diphthong which carry these sounds: beer, hair, fair, stare, pair, wear, and where. And the next is this diphthong. It is pronounced as a short A sound sliding into, can say ow sound, double, and frown, ow, ow, and frown, now, wow. These are, and this is the diphthong that we have on the screen. This is often just pronounced as a single long O sound as a diphthong. And in the word yellow, plot, though, to, no, low, and the red alphabet, they are showing that the diphthong has its position, you can say there, on the red words, the red alphabets. So we have the last one in the word like poor, tour, pure, fuel, dual, short, actual. So this is the, you can say, last one that we have, the 8 diphthong that we have. And ma'am, if there is can say time, then we can discuss, you can say, some more, you can say, organ of speech. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it will take time, ma'am, because the slide is very lengthy, and in that we have plosive sound, applicative sound, and you can say other description which are, you can say, produced. So
Sir,
can we go?
as timings are few we have limited time, so please you may sum up.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. So I come to, ma'am, the next slide. So we have discussed all the monothong and diphthong, and we have also the description of some sounds. So we have the plosive, which are made by making a complete closure between some point and the vocal tract. Pressure built up behind the closure, which is released to create sound. All of a sudden, the pressure is, you can say, released, and this group include the sound like B, P, K, D, T, and D. We have also these two sounds are, you can say, plosive. They differ in way the voice is used during the sound. P is aspirated and voiceless, and air leaving the mouth, it is gentle sound in the production of P sound. But in the production of the B sound, it is the air is restricted through the glottis, and both the sounds are known as bilabial plosive. We have the sound like K, G, which are made by raising the tongue at the back of the mouth, to make a complete closure. K is a voiceless sound, G, it is a voiced sound. So these both the sound are known as velar plosive. We have the sound which are made by, you can say, raising the tongue to touch the front of the alveolar ridge just behind the teeth, and we have some words in this that these are, you can say, alveolar plosive sound, and there is these are known as alveolar plosive sound. We have fricative sound. Fricative are made by moving two vocal organs together to restrict the release of sound. This group include the sound of F, V, S, Z, and both SH or TH sound. So in fricative we come across these sounds, and we have the, can say, labiodental fricative. We have also the dental fricative, and we have the plato-alveolar fricative sound. We have nasal sounds are made by making a complete closure in the mouth and allowing the air to escape through the nose, and this group include the sound N, M, which are, you can say, nasal sound. And in this category we have alveolar nasal, velar nasal, and then we have bilabial nasal, and there is oral continuants, and some consonant are in the same way like vowel, as they are frictionless, and we have some are, you can say, midway between the consonant and a vowel, and some are, you can say, they are called as semi-vowel or glides. And we have the next one, that is post alveolar approximant. So the sound that is made when the tip of the tongue is held close to the alveolar ridge but not touching it, the side of the tongue should touch the lower back teeth. And we have also the lateral sounds, and we have labio-velar semi-vowel sound, and palatal semi-vowel sound we have. So we have, you can say, we can discuss these things, but because of shortage of time, we will have to, you can say, go through in detail. So thank you, ma'am, for this giving me this opportunity to deliver this lecture on the speech sounds. Thank you, ma'am Rekha, and ma'am Dr. Madhu Sharma, Head Department of English, Principal, IBPG College, Karnal, Dr. Ajay Kumar Garagji. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your contribution, for giving students a light of intelligence in the darkness of ignorance. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thanks to all the students for attending this lecture. You may leave now.